Okay guys, so welcome back to another Scrappin' Irish video. So I'm just here watching ewaste mic there on my phone. It's I just turned the sound off at the moment, but we'll keep his stream running while I'm doing this video. So guys, what's this video about this week? It's back to some gold recovery. So as you know, a lot of people will find a lot of these sort of ribbons that are inside the you find them inside a lot of the computers. You'll find them inside your DVD ROMs. You'll find them in some hard drives may have them. A lot of DVD players will have them. A lot of laptops will have them. A lot of electronics in general have them. So they all have something, well, not all, but most of the ones will have some gold on them. So you can see there little gold fingers on the top. Also I've got some of these from the mobile phones again, which have gold on them, and again you can see some more ribbons here which have gold on them. And is there anything else in there that I've thrown into this thing? But I've trimmed some of them I've left as they are. You can see here like the gold fingers across there. Ooh, if I can get that to focus, there we go. So you have your gold fingers. So I'm going to show you how I remove the gold from them. So I was going to trim the fingers off these, but sometimes because it's this sort of material, you end up with a lot of cleaning up to do to get it out. If you cut them too small, you're left with little bits and you're filtering, they're blocking up your filter. So by leaving it in the actual full piece of strip like this, it should make it easier for cleaning up. So all I'm going to do is just throw them in there. So you can see again, any of these have the gold on them. So you got your gold there, you got your little gold fingers here. So I'm just going to throw them in. Again, you can see the gold here. You know, so I'm just going to chuck all them in there. I'm just going to trim that one back a bit because I don't want too many little small bittings of things. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to just chuck them into that. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add hydrochloric acid. So for my hydrochloric acid, I use a thing called spirits of salt. Some people will use muriatic acid, will be hydrochloric acid. There's all different mint etchings that will have hydrochloric acid in them. So this one has, if you look down here, has 32% hydrochloric acid. So that's perfect for what I want to do. So all I'm going to be doing is covering these in the hydrochloric acid. I'll be putting a little pump on them. So I have a little pump out of an aquarium or something like that. That's where I think this came from. And this little pump will just pump some oxygen or air through, and that will get it to start removing the gold from these a lot quicker. I will also be putting in a little bit of copper chloride from previous where I've done this before to help speed it up. So if you don't know how to make copper chloride or what copper chloride is, I used that on the RAM fingers when I was removing the gold. So what's that? You haven't watched that video yet? Well, lucky for you, if you look up in the corner, there's a link there now. So that link would show you how I done this making copper chloride by using this spirits of salt, and I used peroxide, hydrogen peroxide, and then when the copper is released, you end up with a liquid which is copper chloride. So that copper chloride will get this working quicker. So essentially what's happening is the copper is being ate from underneath the gold, and once the copper is being ate, the gold just floats away from the actual boards or the actual foils in this case. So check that video out, guys, afterwards. After you watch this video in full, remember to come back and check that. I might put a link at the end of the video as well for it so that you can watch it again and you can see how it works with the RAM. And I do it in a bucket. The reason I'm doing it not in the buckets I normally do is I want it so you can see on the sides on this one so it's clear and you'll be able to see exactly what's happening. So I'm going to go to the shed now, guys. I'm just going to fill this. We're going to go to the shed and we're going to start adding the acids, set up the pump, and we'll let it start working, and we'll keep checking in every couple of days and we'll see how we're getting on with it and we'll see what sort of foils we're getting. So it's just, again, can be got, a lot of people go, oh, where did you get your acids? This is got in a hardware store. So it's not a restricted item. It can be got in a hardware store, so it's straightforward. Again, This was got in online, I think, for £5, something like that. It wasn't dear. May not last too long, but it might. I have another one if it fails. But so let's go to the shed and let's get moving on this. Don't forget, guys, safety first. Have your gloves, and also wear a mask if you're not in a good ventilated area. So I'm okay where I have where I'm going to do this. It's ventilated enough. I don't think I'll be putting on the mask today, but again, I'd recommend you do put the masks on. So let's go to the shed and let's get moving on this. Okay, guys, so here we are, ready to go. So I have my foils in here. I've got a little glass stirring rod, got the gloves on, got the acid, also got the copper chloride. As you can see, it's like a greeny colour. That's the copper that has been dissolved in it before. So I have that there ready to go. So first thing off, I'm just going to pour in the acid straight in and just make sure there's enough acid to cover the actual foils before we start the air pump. So that's one in. So you can see there is some fumes, but I'm well away from it. Now that should be enough, because I think most of the foils are covered. So I'd say that's about a litre gone in there. And all I'm going to do now is add the copper chloride to it. So let's change the colour. It's gone a greeny colour, but that's the copper chloride. So we have that in there. Just make sure all the foils are done on it. So they're all in there and they're all getting a little bit. I might need to add a bit more acid. If I do, I'll add it. If I think I need to put a bit more in, if there isn't enough for what I'm doing, but I'd say there should be enough there. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that there, so we have a bit of a lid on it so there's not as much fumes coming out. And I'm going to get a lead and I'm just going to plug in that pump and we'll just get going. So just give me a second, I'll get that lead. Okay, so I have the lead set up and I'm just going to switch it on and we should be ready to go. So there we go, you can see, if I zoom in, that we've got the bubbling going. So what that does, it helps to get the oxygen or the air in there and will help to get that to start to do its work a bit quicker. So we'll come back in a couple of days and we'll see how it's got on. I'll probably add a bit more acid because I think it needs to get up to maybe about there. So I'll probably just pour the last of that bottle in actually. And again, I can use this acid on for my, I can save the acid and use it on printer ribbons. I can use it on SIM cards if I want it. So I just need to set up the, there we go. So I just need to set up the bubbler again, because it needs to be under it. So the way I had a trap the last time was under a few ribbons and stuff. There we go. Oh. So we'll let that work away, and you can see it's bubbling away. You can hear it, you can see the bubbles there, over here, bubbling away. We'll let that work, do its stuff, and we'll check in a couple of days. Okay guys, so it's been 24 hours since I've started doing the tub, and I'll just put that straw, that stirrer there away for a minute, and I can already see flakes in there, but I'm going to give you a right look at it now in a second. But first I'm going to stick on my mask because there will be a lot of fumes, so I'm going to just stick on the mask to help protect against a lot of the fumes that will be coming out of this as soon as I open it. So sorry about the sound guys if it gets a bit muffled, but you have to make sure you don't poison yourself. Okay, so mask is on, gloves are on. We're going to open this and have a look into it, so you will see the fumes coming out. You can see it rising there.
I've turned off the pumps on it, so as you can already see, we have a lot of gold foils, and this is only after 24 hours. So there's a lot of gold foils floating around there. Now there's still some on the actual, if we pick up one of these, and we'll see what, so you can see there where the foils have started to come off, and I bet if I just scrape along there we can get more off, we can. So you can see how I've loosened all them foils up, so we'll just let them off into that. So they could be all rinsed off into it, but I'll let them soak for another while, and I'll just come in every so often and I'll turn the ear back on it and we'll leave it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave it for, this was 24 hours gone by, so the next time I'll look at it will be in 48 hours more. So let me just have a look here if we can see how the foils come off here. So you can even see it there, how the foils have started to come off the boards there. As you can see, there's some bits there, and again I say if we scrape it they'll probably come off easy enough too. Yeah, you can see them coming off there. So just another while in there, we'll let that work away. I'll re-put in the air supply into it, and we'll let them work away for another 48 hours, and we'll see what it looks like in 48 hours. But it's straightforward, it works away by itself. There's not much, once you have it working, it'll work away by itself. And you can see the actual foils if we zoom in. I'll push this over in the better spot. So there you go, guys. You can actually see the foils floating around in the liquid. So I'm going to let that run for another 48 hours from now, and we'll check back in 48 hours and we'll see how the foils have got on, and is there much more to be done. So not too bad for the first 24 hours. You can see the, if I tilt it out, you can see some foils down at the bottom, there's foils floating in the liquid. So fairly good. We'll get the pumps back on that and let it run for another 48 hours and see what it's like in 48 hours. So guys, see you in 48 hours.
Okay guys, so it's been another 48 hours and I have it outside at the moment, so the light isn't great, but because I just thought I'd leave it outside for today, bubbling away. So let's have a look. So you can see, let's zoom out. So you can see it bubbling away here. I'll just switch that off. And we'll get our little stick. So we seem to have removed a lot of the gold from them. So that seems to have done a pretty good job. So I think it's time to filter it out. So let's go filter it out and see how we got on. See what the amount of gold we got. It looks okay to me. There may be some that isn't done, but when we come across them we'll put them back in again. So let's go filter this out. Okay guys, so I'm just filtering this off, so all I'm doing is pouring the liquid in. And we just let that drain off. So as you can see the gold floating around, plenty of it, and we'll let that drain off down into this funnel, and when it's fully drained off, we'll see what's left. Does it need to be redone, and if it need to be re-put back in, or is it all completely done? Chances are there's going to be a certain amount has to be redone. It mightn't have got all the acid. I'll hold on to that acid anyhow, and that'll be reused again when I'm doing something like gold fingers, or maybe SIM cards. I have some SIM cards too, we might do a video on them, and some of the chips from the ink cartridges that can be all used on that. So we'll let that drain away. You can see it's just draining down nicely. We'll add a bit more. So we'll let that work away, and when it's all fully filtered, we'll have a look at the filter paper and see what we're left with. I'll try and remove that little bit of styrofoam that's got in there. So that's filtering away nicely, so we'll let that work away and we'll come back once it's all filtered. Okay guys, so as you can see, the filtering is ongoing at the moment. You can see the very fine gold. That's one filter, and then we have a second filter in here. So again, you can see the gold, if I can get the shadows out of the way. So the gold is in there. That will need to be dried out, and then it can be things. So it is a bit of a pain trying to keep all the small bits out of the thing and getting the gold in, but we'll persevere. So you can see the flakes are in there, so all I do is stir it up and get rid of it, and then I'll take out so much of that and empty it out and just go again, and we'll keep doing that till we get all the gold. So you don't need to see me doing that. So what you're going to get to see is the finished product in a minute, because I'll just carry on here, and any that haven't, because some of them will not have all the gold dissolved off it. So what I'm doing is I'm picking out any of them that still have, so you can see there's still gold there and stuff like that on them. So any of them still have gold on them, they're going to be left till we get it all out. So you can see here, I zoom in, you can see the gold floating around in there. So it's like a little snow globe, but a gold globe instead. So I'm going to let that filter away, guys. I'm going to dry them filters out, and then we're going to put the gold into a little container, and then it'll be ready to be dissolved into aqua regia. Now I won't be doing this one. I'll just be putting the gold into aqua regia. I already have there with other bits in there dissolved. So I'm going to try and use this gold to use up as much of the nitric acid as possible in them, in the ones I've already got out there, so I don't have to use as much urea to neutralise it, which can be a bit of a pain sometimes. So it should make it easier if I just use these gold powders that I collect now, and I'll put them in with previous ones where I've aqua regia. I think I've 3 or 4 jars of different pins that were dissolved, the gold that was dissolved. So this should really help me out and use up the excess nitric that's still left in them aqua regia ones, and then when there's no more gold being dissolved in it, I know that it's neutralised. That all the nitric has been used up, and then it's ready to drop. So I'll just be filtering it out and so on. So we'll come back, we'll let these filter through, let them dry out, and we'll come back to it. So you'll get to see it straight away, guys. You don't have to wait through the long time. So see you there. So guys, this is the foils that I had gone through, and all the gold seems to have been removed from them. And this is the few that still have a little bits of gold on them, so I'll put them in with some other foils that I'll be doing in future videos, maybe when I'm doing the ones from the ink cartridges or the ones from the SIM cards. I'll do that. So what did we end up with in the end? So here it is, guys. There's the gold. So as you can see, we have, some of it has little bits of stuff stuck in there, very fine flakes of gold in there. But what I'm going to do with this now is I'm going to add it to aqua regia that I already have going. So hopefully what will happen is it'll just dissolve whatever amount of gold. If it dissolves at all, that means there was still a lot of nitric that had to be used up, and I'll keep adding more gold from other times when I do the sim cards or whatever, until I neutralise the aqua regia on a lot of the or the nitric in the aqua regia, so that I don't have to use, if I can possibly avoid it, urea, because I find the urea sometimes causes a lot more trouble trying to drop the gold out of it at the end. Maybe it's something I'm doing wrong or whatever, or I'm putting too much nitric in. So I've tried to keep the nitric down on any of the aqua regias I've been doing lately. So I have a couple of jars of aqua regia on the go. So we'll go to the shed, we'll just add this to one of the jars, and that'll be the end of the video. So I'll see you in the shed, guys, and we'll just add this bit of gold to it, and we'll see how it gets on. Okay guys, so here we are in the shed, and as you can see I have 4 different jars here, and each one of them is aqua regia, but for some reasons there's different shades. So this one, as you can see, is the yellowy sort of colour, then we have green, and then we have a dark green finish, and then we have like a black finish on them. So I'm presuming, because the different shades is the purities aren't as good, so I'm presuming this is the most pure, and so on, so on, so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the gold to the most pure one, and hopefully it doesn't go black like the rest of them, and eventually we'll do drops on all of them and we'll see what we get out of it in the end. At some stage I'll be doing a drop on them all. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the gold and we'll just drop in there into the aqua regia, and see will that fully every last bit of gold just dissolve in that. If it does, then I'll next batch I'll add more, and so on. So I'll just sweep all the little bits of gold out of the corners. We don't want to leave any of it behind. It's too precious to be doing that. So again, we'll just so every last little flake we wanted, they all add up. Oh, I'll let a few fly out. Okay, so that's it in there. So as you can see from looking into the gold is settled there on that, and hopefully the aqua regia will dissolve any gold. Just stir it around a bit, and then whatever isn't dissolved, when I filter this out again, any flakes that haven't been dissolved, I'll dry them out and I'll add them to the next jar, and so on, so on, so on. So when I eventually find that no gold dissolves in any of these anymore, then that should be them neutralised enough, and then I should be able to try dropping the gold out of them. I'm not expecting great returns from this one or this one. These two I should hopefully get a gram or two out of them. I'm hoping for these two to give me maybe a gram each, maybe a gram and a half out of each one of them. And these ones, I'm thinking there's a lot more base metals have gone in there that shouldn't have gone in there. But hopefully we can drop it all out and then maybe purify it again in a later video. So guys, thanks for watching the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you didn't like it, move on to the next video, guys. I'm sure there's plenty there for you to watch. If you want to give a comment, and catch you on the next one, guys. Thanks for watching.